Before the grand stone cities were raised, before written history etched its first permanent marks into wet clay, there was the furnace. In the quiet darkness of the early world, humanity stumbled upon a dangerous and wondrous secret: that rock could be made to bleed liquid fire, and that fire, under the disciplined hand of a master, could be forced to obey. To the ancient mind, the earth was a realm of raw, unyielding elements. Mountains stood cold and impenetrable. Forest timber yielded only slowly to stone blades. Yet deep within the earth lay dormant heavy ores, dark, mysterious stones waiting for a catalyst to unleash their hidden strength. The discovery of metalworking was not merely a step forward in human survival. It was a fundamental shift in our relationship with creation itself. For the first time, mankind was not simply adapting to nature, but reforging it. Among the scattered lineages of the dawn of time, one name stands as the archetype of this monumental revolution: Tubal Cain. Recorded in the ancient Hebrew scriptures in the briefest of phrases, his legacy echoes across thousands of years of human craft, myth, and ritual lore. He is remembered simply as the instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. In those few words rests a massive legacy. Tubal Cain represents the precise moment when raw human instinct yielded to deliberate skill, when brute force was transformed into mechanical mastery. He stands at the intersection of history and legend, a figure claimed by ancient genealogies, preserved in medieval craft charters, and venerated across generations of fraternal lore. But to understand the true weight of his name, we must first look into the dark, violent world from which he emerged. The ancient book of Genesis places Tubal Cain in the 8th generation of humanity, born to Lamech and Zillah, within the lineage of Cain. This specific family line is presented not merely as a list of names, but as the origin point of human civilization's foundational pillars. Consider his household. Tubal Cain did not labor in isolation. He was part of a dynamic generation of innovators. His brother Jabal is remembered as the father of those who dwell in tents and herd livestock, inaugurating nomadic agriculture and organized pastoral life. His brother Jubal became the father of all who play the lyre and the pipe, giving birth to music, acoustics, and artistic expression. Their sister, Naamah, according to ancient Jewish tradition, perfected the delicate art of spinning wool and weaving textiles, bringing grace and comfort to human attire. But it was Tubal Cain who provided the foundation that made all other arts enduring. Without the smith, there are no iron shears to harvest the fleece for Naamah's loom. Without the wedge and the chisel, there are no tools to fashion the wooden frames of Jubal's instruments or the structural supports of Jabal's enclosures. Tubal Cain was the catalyst. He forged the primary tools, the implements that allowed every other human endeavor to expand, build, and endure. To appreciate the awe and near-religious reverence attached to the ancient metalworker, one must consider the sheer technical impossibility of metallurgy to the early human mind. To take a dull-heavy rock dug from a dark hillside, bury it beneath burning charcoal, blast it with forced air until it melts, and then extract a shining, malleable substance was nothing short of miraculous. In an age before chemical equations, the blacksmith was equal parts engineer, alchemist, and mystic. He was a master of elements: earth, air, fire, and water. He drew earth from the ground, forced it into communion with fire, fed that fire with air from his bellows, and tempered the hot metal in water to lock in its strength. Tubal Cain does not stand alone in human memory. As civilizations grew and branched across the globe, virtually every ancient culture preserved a singular, profound reverence for the master of the forge. The archetype of the divine or heroic smith is universal. The Greeks spoke of Hephaestus, known to the Romans as Vulcan, the limping god of fire and craft. Born rejected, he built the golden palaces of Mount Olympus, fashioned Apollo's chariot, and forged the legendary armor of Achilles in his subterranean workshops beneath burning volcanoes. In the icy north, Germanic and Norse traditions celebrated Wayland the Smith, a craftsman of such legendary brilliance that no blade could break his swords, and no lock could withstand his keys. In the Finnish national epic, the Kalevala, we find Ilmarinen, the eternal hammerer. He was a creator god who forged the dome of the sky so smoothly that no hammer marks or Tom's prints could be seen upon its celestial surface, and who fashioned the mythic Sampo, a magical mill of prosperity. Why did every civilization create such figures? Because the blacksmith possessed a unique power that set him apart from all other artisans. The mason shapes stone, but stone remains stone. The carpenter shapes wood, but wood remains wood. The smith alone changes the very state of matter itself. He turns rock into liquid, and liquid into indestructible tools.
Yet within this all lay a deep, enduring anxiety. The forge held a dangerous duality. The very same heat that produced the plowshare to feed a community could be used to forge the spear that destroyed it. The same hand that shaped the axe to clear forests for home building could fashion the battle axe to shatter city gates. This duality sits at the heart of Tubal Cain's legacy. In many ancient commentaries, he is remembered with a mixture of admiration and caution. He was the great civilizer who unlocked human potential, but he was also the man who armed humanity for war. He gave mankind the power to build, and for the first time, the terrifying power to destroy on a grand scale. As the centuries turned, the memory of Tubal Cain moved beyond ancient scripture and entered the realm of medieval craft guilds. When stonemasons, carpenters, and metalworkers organized into formal guilds across Europe, they compiled their traditional histories into documents known today as the Old Charges or manuscript constitutions of Masonry. In these medieval texts, Tubal Cain and his family were elevated to guardians of humanity's core intellectual treasures. According to the ancient legend preserved in these manuscripts, the children of Lamech possessed great foresight. They realized that human knowledge was fragile and that the world was subject to catastrophic destruction, either by the force of fire or the devastating rush of water. To ensure that the foundational sciences, particularly geometry, architecture, and metallurgy, would not be lost to future generations, they took extraordinary measures. They recorded their complete knowledge upon two massive pillars. One pillar was built of fine marble, designed to withstand the rage of fire without burning. The second pillar was constructed of porous brick, engineered to survive the force of rising floodwaters without dissolving. Legend records that long after the ancient cataclysms had passed, these pillars were discovered by later generations. In this legend, Tubal Cain is no longer merely a historic blacksmith. He becomes a preserver of human enlightenment, a link connecting the wisdom of the ancient world to the architects of the future.
In fraternal philosophy, Tubal Cain represents this exact transformation of human character. The raw ore is the uneducated, undisciplined human mind, full of unchecked passion and rough potential. The forge represents life's trials, education, and moral discipline. The hammer is the conscious willpower that shapes character. Tubal Cain stands as a reminder that we are all smiths of our own character, tasked with hammering our raw instincts into useful, noble instruments. This profound moral evolution found its most famous literary expression in the 19th century through the celebrated poem Tubal Cain, written by Scottish poet Charles Mackay. Whether we look upon Tubal Cain through the ancient lines of Genesis, the comparative myths of world cultures, the preservation legends of medieval masons, or the poetic verses of modern literature, his legacy remains striking and urgent. He represents the enduring spark of human curiosity and ingenuity, the relentless urge to master our environment and unlock the hidden potential of the earth. But more than that, he stands as a timeless mirror held up to human progress. He reminds us that all technology, from the primitive bronze axe to the most advanced modern machinery, is neutral. A tool possesses no morality of its own. The ultimate value of our inventions, our strength, and our knowledge will never depend upon the sharpness of the steel or the heat of the fire, but entirely upon the wisdom, compassion, and moral restraint of the hand that holds the hammer. For Freemasons, Tubal Cain is more than an ancient memory of the forge. He is a perpetual reminder that our ultimate duty is to take the raw, unrefined passions of human nature and forge them into instruments of virtue, brotherhood, and peace.